Okay, I wanted to do a video on what exactly it is about gut bacteria transplants that makes them so effective. This is just my theory. I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. I'm going to be doing a lot more videos on gut bacteria transplants, bacteria strains, that kind of thing, and the role they play in illnesses. But I came across something really interesting. There's a study which I'll put in the description, a link to it, where during gut bacteria transplants, they wanted to figure out exactly what it was about these transplants that was so effective. I forget what the illness was that they were treating, but they were theorizing that, well, it could be the bacteria strains, it could be metabolites that the bacteria are producing, or it could be bacteriophages. Now, what a bacteriophage is it's a virus that infects bacteria. So let's say you have a gut that's very much, struggling. It's got an overgrowth of bad bacteria, and, no matter how many probiotics you put in there, they're transitory. So after your digestive tract processes the food, the fermented food that you ate, they're gone, and the bad bacteria is still there and thriving. So they pasteurized the bacteria that they were giving to people, and it still worked. So the gut bacteria transplant, the causative factor there seemed to be, in theory, according to the study, was potentially bacteriophage. Now that is pretty interesting. Back in the 1920s and before, particularly before World War I, bacteriophage treatment or bacteriophage therapy was relatively common. It was a common way to treat wounds, things like that. And what's interesting about that is after World War I, everyone moved over to penicillin. They discovered penicillin. It was a lot more conducive to, battlefield medicine. And bacteriophage therapy sort of, fell by the wayside. Broad-spectrum antibiotics, now we know how detrimental they can be because they can kill off the good bacteria too, but they did a great job and can do a great job of killing off the bad bacteria with the infections. Now, hopefully we'll see a rediscovery of the value of bacteriophages, but I wanted to put that out there as a potential factor as to why FMT, fecal microbiota transplants, work. Because it's not just as simple as getting the right bacteria strains in, it's also a matter of keeping the bad bacteria strains in check. And I wanted to make this analogy because I think analogies are a good way to learn something. If I have a bunch of honeysuckle and a bunch of undergrowth in the woods, and I want to have a pasture, now I could go out there and I could cut that all by hand, or I can't eat any of that, right? So if I wanted to have a field where I grow wheat, I'd have to go out there all the time and pull weeds up by hand, things like that. Or I could get goats. Goats are going to eat all of the invasive species. I might not be able to grow wheat with the goats there, but that's beside the point. The point is the goats can consume all of the invasive species and then in turn be food for me. So the bacteriophages can be metabolizing, destroying the bad bacteria and allowing the good bacteria to thrive, right? So if I fence in a pen out there and put goats in it, they're going to consume all the honeysuckle, all the undergrowth, all the junk, and it's going to keep all that stuff in check. So there is that step in between bacteria and human biology, the bacteriophage. I think that plays a huge modulating role in why focusing on the gut can have such a curative role in a lot of these diseases. Now I'm going to have a lot more videos. I'm going to do another one this week, and there's a lot of case studies. You'll see case studies where, oh, this disease was cured, oh, that disease was cured, and you'll rarely see a large study being done on this, but I think chasing these case studies is valuable, and looking into these theories and things like that has a lot of value to it. But I just wanted to put bacteriophage therapy out there as my theory as to why gut bacteria transplants work. Like I said, in the study where they had pasteurized the stool transplants, it still worked. So there's something to that, I think. You know, who knows? Maybe it's a type of yeast or fungus that we just haven't discovered yet, but in particular, it to me seems it would be the bacteriophages, because that is, in healthy people, in my opinion, what keeps bad bacteria from taking hold. Now, maybe in cases like food poisoning, again, this is just a theory, but it's a type of bacteria that person just doesn't have bacteriophages for. So, who knows? This is all just theorizing on my part, but hopefully you found this video interesting, and hopefully I'll have some more up soon.